Hi, welcome back to Mr. Slover's Math. Today we're going to talk about elapsed time. So this first part of the notes is just getting into some basic things that we're going to see in our unit. So what is elapsed time? It's the time that's passed from the start to the finish of an event. How many minutes is a half-hour lunch break? 30 minutes. If you have two 15-minute breaks, how many total minutes is that? It's just asking you to add the two together to get 30. AM is before noon, and then PM is noon, anything after in the noon. How many minutes are in an hour? 60 minutes. And a paid break is when you get paid while you take a break. You don't have to do any work during that paid break. So elapsed time practice. So there are many different ways that you can figure out how much time has passed from one event to the next, or from the start to the finish of something. I am a huge fan of finger counting for elapsed time. So you just start counting. So the first one says 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 8 to noon. So 8 is where I'm starting. So after 1 hour, I'm at 9. And then another hour is 10, another hour is 11, and another hour is 12. So 4 hours have passed between 8 and 12. Now, some of you think, well, Mr. Slover, can't we just do 12 minus 8? And I totally agree. 12 minus 8 is 4. That's not always going to work, especially when you switch from AM to PM, or if you're using minutes, going from like 8:45 to 12:15. Can't just use your calculator because your calculator has a base of 10 and base 100. Whereas your minutes are based out of 60, right? 60 minutes in 1 hour. So letter B, 6:30 to 11:30. So once again, start with the finger counting. So 6:30 is where you're starting. So after 1 hour, you're at 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30. That gives you 5 hours. Now, letter C is 7 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. So 7, 8 is 1 hour, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. If I go to 2, 15. If I go to 2, right, I've passed the 1:15. And so I don't want to go past it. So right now I'm at 6 hours. That brings me to 1 o'clock. Well, I need how many more minutes to get to 1:15? Well, I need 15 more minutes. So my elapsed time from 7 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. is 6 hours and 15 minutes. So it's nice to just kind of go up to that hour that you need and then figure out how many more minutes you need to get to that end goal. Yes, you can work backwards, but sometimes it can be a bit difficult. So letter E. If I go 3:15, 4:15, 5:15, 6:15, 7:15, 8:15, 9:15, 10:15, 11:15. So I'm at 8 hours at 11:15. If I go to 12:15, I have passed where I need to go to. I only need to go to 11:45. So right now I'm at 8 hours and I'm at 11:15. So I need to think, how many more minutes do I have to get to, or do I need to go from 8:15, to go from 11:15 to 11:45? And that would be 30 minutes. So that's why my elapsed time is 8 hours and 30 minutes. Letter F. If you notice that it says 9:35 a.m. to 9:35 p.m. So the only thing that changed was the a.m. to the p.m. If you ever see that right away, you know that is 12 hours. Now, you don't have to do any finger counting. You don't have to do any counting in your head. It's just, if it's the exact same time, but one is in the morning and one's in the afternoon, one's a.m. and one's p.m., or one's p.m. and one's a.m., it's automatically going to be 12 hours. And then there's some more that you can practice with on your own. So now we're going to apply elapsed time with some breaks. So once again, we're getting ready for how much money we're going to be making, right? We're going to figure out how many hours we worked during a day, subtract our breaks that we don't get paid for, and then eventually we're going to calculate how much we get paid. That's the end goal. So we're going to state how long we're going to get paid for. So we clocked in at 8 a.m., clocked out at 3 p.m. So our elapsed time is 7 hours. From 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., our elapsed time is 7 hours. Well, if we keep reading, it says we had a 30-minute unpaid lunch break. That means we don't get paid for that 30 minutes. We were at work, but we don't get paid for it. So we're going to subtract that 30 minutes from how many hours we were at work. So 7 hours minus 30 minutes is 6 hours and 30 minutes. Now, if you're someone that's not a big fan of minutes, you could always change it to the decimal. So 30 minutes is 0.5 hours or half an hour. So if you had, or you were thinking 6 hours or 6.5 hours, that's fine. It's the same thing. So letter B, we clocked in at 7 a.m., clocked out at 1, 30-minute unpaid lunch break again. So our elapsed time that we were at work was 6 hours, but we're subtracting that unpaid lunch break, which was 30 minutes. It means we would be getting paid for 5 hours and 30 minutes. Same concept for letter C and letter D. Now letter E and letter F get a little bit tricky only because it's not on the hour like some of the other ones were. Like we clocked in at 8:35. Maybe we were supposed to be there at 8:30. We showed up 5 minutes late, so that's when we clocked in. Maybe we clocked out at 6:15 because we had to do some cleanup. Our shift ended at 6, but we had to stay 15 minutes to do some cleanup. So you're not always going to have those nice numbers when you're dealing with work. Okay? We still have a 30-minute unpaid lunch break, though. So our elapsed time from 8:35 to 6:15 was 9 hours and 40 minutes. And then we're going to subtract our 30-minute lunch. So we were at work getting paid 9 hours and 10 minutes. Similar concept on letter F. So now the very last part. Now we're going to move away from work and look at other scenarios with elapsed time. So you live 15 minutes from a movie theater and you want to show up 20 minutes early to the 9:05 showing of the latest Marvel movie so you can buy snacks and get a good seat. What time should you leave your house? Now, sometimes students are just like, well, I'll just leave it at 8 o'clock. Oh, plenty of time. Well, that's true. What if you don't want to sit there for an extra half an hour? Or maybe you just want to know what is the latest, the last possible minute I can leave my house and still get there when I want to get there. So you live 15 minutes away. You want to show up 20 minutes early. So it's going to take 35 minutes before showtime that you need to be there. Okay, so let's figure it out. I need at 9:05 p.m. and I have to work backwards. Right? Essentially, I'm subtracting 35 minutes from 9:05. So if I subtract those 5 minutes, right, 35 and 9:05, if I subtract 5 minutes, I'm at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., and I'm at 30 minutes. So now subtract the remaining 30 minutes, that puts me at 8:30 p.m. Letter B is talking about Great America. You want to ride Batman, the ride. The sign says it's an hour, 23-minute wait. The ride's 3 minutes. It's 3:45 and the park closes at 5:15. If you choose to go on the ride, what time will you exit the ride and will the park be closed? So there is 1 hour and 30 minutes until the park closes. The park closes at 5:15. It's 3:45. So you got an hour and a half. The ride itself, because it's an hour, 23-minute wait and 3 minutes for the ride. So that's an hour and 26 minutes. So from 3:45, you're going to add an hour and 26 minutes. That brings us to 5:11. That's when you're going to be getting off of the ride. So you have an extra 4 minutes to go to the bathroom. I don't know, whatever you do for 4 minutes. And then you can work through letter C on your own. Let's look at letter D. So a friend calls you, needs a ride to work. She lives 5 minutes from you, and it takes an additional 9 minutes to drop her off at work. She's got to be at work at 10. What time do you got to leave your house? Well, it's 5 minutes to her, and then 9 minutes from her house to work. So that's a total of 14 minutes that you're going to be driving. So we have to backtrack, right? She has to be there at 10, so we're going to subtract 14 minutes from 10 o'clock. Brings us to 9:46. So I caution you to use on using your calculator with elapsed time. It does not always work well because your base for counting hours or counting time is going to be 60 minutes. So your base is 60, which is not the same as what your calculator is designed for. So keep that in mind. Big fan of finger counting when it's something like what you see here, okay? Finger counting, or even when you get into just examples like this, finger counting. So if you have questions, make sure you let me know. Otherwise, thanks for stopping in. Till next time.